Hello and welcome to Newsx. I am Sambhav Sharma and I am joined by our very special guest today, Justice Lokpal Singh, former judge of the Uttarakhand High Court and currently the senior advocate in the Supreme Court of India. Sir, we will talk about important landmark judgments of the Supreme Court in 2025, including one of the last judgments of the Chief Justice of India, the then Chief CJI, recently retired CJI, Justice Gavai's judgment on Aravali, which is very much in the news. So we'll start from that particular judgment of the Supreme Court, and we'll also talk about the Waqf judgment of the Supreme Court, where many petitions were filed in the Supreme Court challenging the Waqf Amendment Act. That particular, how that hearing unfolded in the Supreme Court, and also talk about a very important case, the stray dog menace, and what the top court has said, and in a way amended its earlier judgment. So, sir, let's start from the very first, very important judgment of the Supreme Court on the definition of the Aravalis by the, in a way, the court has accepted the definition given by the committee formed by the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change. So how do you see this Aravali judgment, sir?
So here Aravali is a good experience, sir. In the case of Aravali, the Honorable Supreme Court has given its verdict undefined, okay, while considering the report of Forest Survey of India. The Supreme Court has very minutely discussed all points of the report, committee report, and part this judgment, and defined the Aravali Hills and Aravali Ranges. And while reviewing this judgment, under the Supreme Court has that yes, there should be a many first assembly within the limit of the law, and there should not be any illegal mining. Why?
Okay, let's talk about the particular definition which is very much in the news. Here the court adopted the uniform definition recommended by the high level Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change Committee, and which says that the landforms rising above 100 meters and or more with the local terrain are classified as Aravali Hills, and while cluster of such hills within 500 meters of each other are Aravali ranges. Now it's widely reported, widely discussed, debated, and there is a lot of controversy about this particular definition. Now how do you see this particular judgment, sir?
This finding has come on the basis of the committee report and on the basis of the report of Forest Survey of India. They are the expert bodies, and while the court gives it dictum, it based on the recourse. So the court formed the opinion on the basis of the reports, because the court is not some type of expert body of the, but court takes the views of the expert body like the committee as well as the survey of India. So the Supreme Court has given the verdict on these points, and while considering all these points, the Supreme Court has also considered that if there will be a complete ban on the mining in the Aravali Hills or its ranges, then certainly it will rise the illegal mining.
Correct.
While discussing on this point, the Honorable Supreme Court has considered the previous judgment rendered in the case of State of Bihar versus Common Claim.
Okay.
So, sustainable for the purpose of sustainable development, as well as for the purpose of you know that so many laborers are engaged, lots of people are engaged. If there will be a complete ban, certainly there will be unemployment for this.
Now, sir, with this new definition of the Aravali ranges, what do you think? What is the future of Aravali?
So, for future of Aravali is concerned, no doubt that certain mining activities give some impression and some deteriorate the life of the hills, but it does not mean that there should not be any mark.
Okay, noted, sir, noted. Very well said. Now, another very important judgment of the Supreme Court on the stray dogs. It has been widely not just reported, but we have also reported certain kind of hue and cry, both pro dog lovers voices, but also those who want some kind of law to be there, to be followed, and also the stray dog menace and the dog bites. Now here the Supreme Court has directed that the stray dogs be removed from schools, hospitals, bus stands, sports complexes, and sent to the designated shelters. And the court has also emphasized that the animals should be sterilized and relocated in accordance with the ABC rules, that is animal birth control rules. Now the matter was earlier with some other bench, then it was taken to some other bench, and it was the earlier bench's judgment a bit amended also. So now how do you see this? What exactly, now on the ground zero, if now we are reporting from ground zero, here there are stray dogs, we can see what impact this judgment is going to have on these stray dogs.
So far stray dogs are concerned, we all have their presence in the society, maybe in the school or in the hospital, everywhere. But so far these stray dogs are concerned, main thing is that their population should be controlled, and only population of the stray dogs can be controlled by way of sterilization. And the Supreme Court has rightly held that yes, there should be a dedicated shelter home for them. There should be a sterility programs for the dogs, so their population may be controlled. One side there is a stray dog and stimulus. On the other side, the life of the people, and the stray dogs, the several incidents happen where they attack on the children, they attack on the elderly people, and village. So when we have to secure the life of the people, we have to maintain the state of art.
Any message to the dog lovers?
My message to the dog lovers is, okay, I am also a dog.
To an extent, few dog lovers have criticized this particular judgment of the Honorable Supreme Court.
I am also a dog lover. But dog lovers does not mean that only the dogs have the rights and the human beings don't have any rights. Dog lovers may adopt the dogs, they may maintain the dogs, they take the dogs to their house and maintain them. And they should be careful that these dogs, if attacks on someone, on a child, if suppose I have a single child and dogs bite my child and kill the child, what will happen? Who will compensate me? So they are sometimes they are right to the extent that the dogs also have right to be treated properly, but it does not mean that there should be a very hand to the dogs and dog lovers. Yes, there should not be taken from the stray.
Now moving on, the next very important judgment of the top court of the country in September, the Supreme Court has temporarily stayed certain provisions of the Central Waqf Amendment Act, the law, and which includes the requirement that the donors be practicing Muslims for 5 years. So the practicing Muslim clause of the particular act has been stayed, and the nomination of non-Muslims to the central and the state Waqf boards. So with this amendment, the Supreme Court in a way cleared this particular act of the center. So now the Waqf Amendment Act, and we covered this extensively in the Supreme Court. Several hearings happened in the top court of the country. Later on the matter was reserved, and finally this particular judgment has been passed by the Honorable Supreme Court, where in a way Supreme Court has also halted provisions which gave district collectors the sweeping power to determine whether the property qualify as Waqf, which the court said would violate this separation of power clause, which is which is in a way very much fundamental in our democracy. Sir.
That some provisions of the Waqf Act are under challenge before the Supreme Court. And as an interim measure, which Supreme Court has state some of the provisions of the Waqf Act, but in the government that it is a final verdict. Final verdict has the power. Then the veracity of the provisions of the Waqf Act will be considered by the Secretary. So now this is not the appropriate stage to discuss because the interim order is there and it will depend on the final. Interim order does not mean that it is a final verdict. Final verdict may be different from the interim.
Any comments on this particular law of the land now, the Waqf Amendment Act?
That is subjudice before the end of the Supreme Court, so it would not be appropriate to comment on it.
But the amendments made by the Supreme Court in this particular law by... Okay.
Supreme Court, this is an interim measure by the interim order by the. Some stay have been granted on some provisions of the Waqf Act, not on the
whole act altogether. So, what do you think how it is going to pan out? See, there are a lot of cases we cover in the lower courts also, where certain petitions filed in the lower courts, questioning the corruption, alleged corruption in the Waqf boards. There are few cases in the lower courts in Delhi as well, sir. So, you being the former judge, now the senior advocate, how do you see this? Is this particular law after what the Supreme Court has altered in a way in this particular law is going to help or curb the corruption at large?
So far this Waqf Act is concerned, so there are so many loopholes in the the government of India has amended it that as per the requirement of the Act, amended as per the present time.
Sir.
How it can be in the benefit of the works also.
Yes, absolutely, sir. Noted. Now, another very important case which came up in November from the Supreme Court, where the top court has acquitted Surendra Kohli and the domestic help who was also called as the monster of Nithari, and very important judgment of the Supreme Court ordering his immediate release. And here this particular case in a way closed the 2-decade-old legal battle. What do you have to say on this, sir?
Surendra Kohli was convicted by the trial court as well as by the High Court, and the SLP filed by the Kohli and its survival was dismissed by the Supreme Court. Then matter back is rejected. Me to this is where also displayed. And finally, in a curative petition, the Supreme Court has acquitted these connected persons on the ground that it was a faulty investigation.
And so the top court has questioned the investigation at large.
Investigation. In some of these judgments, the Supreme Court has held that the lack of investigation or defective investigation so do not give a liberty to the accused person. So when there is a case of circumstantial evidence, it is settled principle of in law that circumstantial evidence should be considered very carefully. But we look at that the trial court and the High Court, while delivering this judgment, has considered the circumstantial.
Now, for the benefit of our viewers, sir, what are these circumstantial evidences, and in this particular case, what were they?
Circumstantial means there was no eyewitness to the case. Circumstantial, it was the house of Mr. Kohli, his servant was there, and the entire dead body of the children were found near to the resort. So it is the circumstance point. Who will be responsible for it? Who are not watching it? So circumstances denotes that yes, you all the bodies found in your house, near to the house, and your servant has sometime admitted to the extent that he committed this offense, but certainly when matter went in the court, most of the accused denies that they didn't give such a statement to the police. They have also been implicated. But all the circumstances collected, evidence collected by the CBI was clearly evidence to commit that. And the trial court as well as the High Court have committed that. Even the Supreme Court, while hearing the appeal, had that yes, conviction is valid. Can you petition based on the evidence? Jimmy Producer was also the shape. But Teroti petition, the Honorable Supreme Court had to pay a U-turn on the ground for the putting a faulty investigation, and there was no PHU. In a Teroti petition, in my opinion, and he faced so many cases here. Most of the time, and the Supreme Court never takes such a decision. Sometimes it gives a wrong message. It is a
Well, with this, we end this conversation. I must thank Justice Lokpal Singh, former judge of Uttarakhand High Court and senior advocate of the Supreme Court of India, for elaborating these judgments of the Supreme Court of India, the important judgments of the 2025. And sir has elaborated all the judgments for the benefit of our viewers so that we can understand the nitty-gritties of the law. With video journalist Deepak Shah, I am Sambhav Sharma for Newsx.